According to a new study, the average couple argues 312 times a year, and researchers say it's usually the little things that cause conflict.
What's the number one thing that couples fight about?
Well, I get asked that quite often, and the real answer is absolutely nothing. It just happens. I mean, he's got the remote control. He says, "Let me see what's on." She says, "No, leave it on that channel." He says, "Fine." And she says, "Well, what do you mean by fine?" And he says, "Well, have it your way. You're always going to have it your way." And he walks out.
Couples fight about the same issues over and over again.
What do you argue about the most?
I'm really particular with the way I like things to be clean. And Josh is a little bit more careless with, he'll clean it up later. So I'm always cleaning up after him.
I want to do something, like I want to go clean something, and I feel like she'll say, "No, because you don't do it right. Let me do it." And I'm like, all right. So and then in my mind, I'm like, okay, now I feel like I don't do anything.
It's better if I do it. It's just
I'm not organized.
Yeah.
She's kind of like my manager because I don't keep track of dates in anything.
Secretary.
It's terrible.
I manage, housewife.
Yeah, and
I have all the titles.
Time, I guess. There's so many things that we have to get done at the house.
He's very good at lying on the couch.
About getting to place on time. I like to get there half hour before. She likes to get there 1 minute before.
Short-term plans.
I like to go with the flow. I don't like to make plans for another year.
I will ask her, can we go to a concert on such and such a date? And she said, I'm not going to plan that far ahead.
In the marriage, we argued about how children were to be brought up.
That's true.
That was a big point, and I think the difference is partly our different personalities and partly our different upbringing.
Relationships are difficult. Everybody knows that. Most people think it's because of money, sex, kids, work, or who picks up the socks. Some people think it's because we're just not right for each other, or we don't have enough in common.
A lot of times when we're in an argument with our lover, we get outside of what's important, and we just want to be right, and it can kind of screw things up. So here's how it might look.
Are your parents coming over this weekend?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
What?
No, I just wanted to know.
You already knew they were coming over. What do you mean?
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, then
we
why
just
would I have
talked about
asked?
it again yesterday.
We talk about a lot. I don't remember everything. I'm forgetful.
So you don't listen to me when I talk to you?
No, I do listen to you. I just didn't remember if your parents are coming over or not, and I thought if they weren't coming over, I was gonna invite Tony over for to watch the game.
Conversations are meaningless. My parents come over too much, and I get it.
This is the typical.
There's actually nothing more difficult on the planet than another person. Think about that. We are all difficult. We all come to each new relationship wanting easy. But we also come with our fair share of unresolved, painful experiences from previous relationships. You think you know each other already, so you stop paying attention. You stop being fully present. Your primitives are relying on procedural memory to run your relationship, and that memory includes everyone and everything of an emotional importance in your life. And that primitive brain of yours is going to read your partner's thoughts, feelings, and intentions through that memory lens. So it's kind of like this. Why are you giving me that look? I didn't give you any look. Why are you using that tone of voice with me? What tone? Stop it. What? That? What? Okay, that's the sound of two nervous systems misfiring, and that is our nature.
Recent studies confirm what many of us have always known, that the number one reason for relationship breakup and breakdowns is lack of communication.
Human communication, even on a good day, is terrible. We're mostly misunderstanding each other much of the time. When we feel good, we don't care that much. And when we don't feel good, we care a whole lot.
What you think is going on is not really what's going on. Sometimes when we argue as couples, what one is really saying out of their mouth is not really the true concern in their hearts. The other reason we fight is because sometimes we come from our place with our issues and we project them onto the person we're dealing with.
So a lot of it is about expectations that are dashed, misinterpretations, passive-aggressive communications, being oblivious, and probably most important, the training we get from our family of origin.
So let's talk about some of the top issues, though, that couples do argue about. What would you say they are?
Well, we do see that there's these annoyances, not putting the toothpaste cap on, toilet rolls, putting the seat down on the toilet. But the fact is, there really are bigger ticket items that they're fighting about: money, sex, parenting, extended family. Those are the things that at the end of the day are really the things that the arguments are about, and that can lead to problems.
And so in our relationship, we disagree, we argue. And number one, I think, is because we feel misunderstood, misinterpreted. Number two, not being given enough credit and support. Three, we see a different viewpoint or a bigger picture that our partner does not see for our relationship and our family.
Yeah, it's the tip of the iceberg thing. It's the thing that's we're focusing on. It's the minor thing that then might really open the door to a bigger discussion, but we don't know how to get to the bigger discussion, so we focus on all the little stuff that doesn't really matter in the big scheme of things.
When you're fighting in marriage, there's nothing wrong with fighting in marriage. Okay, so good couples fight. The difference between a good marriage and a bad marriage is, in a bad marriage you can't resolve your fight.